Hey everyone, Zerek with Baggies Out here. We have Josh Cato and Al Nels. They, I guess, developers or at least producers of the BFA Wind Explorer app, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about what the app is and how it works. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here, Zerek.
So I guess, Al, you originally created the
Concept.
app. Yeah, the concept.
So the whole concept behind this was originally to provide a tool I could use in competitive flying that was very portable, easy to use, handheld, and didn't cost a whole lot of money. So as I started working with the University of Dayton, we put it in as a college project, is how it originally started. And we tried to include as many possible things that anybody could ever want to use as things went on. So the way the whole thing works is that we have a pilot balloon, and a pilot balloon, we know the rate of ascent, and it's kind of, the app is good enough to help you with that. It's something that was added. So we know how fast a balloon goes up, and then what we have to do is measure a couple angles, and that angle is both the elevation of where the pilot balloon is from where it was released, as well as the azimuth, or the angle from, in this case, north is about off to my left, where that pilot balloon is. And then we can plot exactly where it is in space. We do that periodically and then draw some vectors between those periodic points, and it tells us what winds aloft are. And it's the age-old way that the theodolites have worked for a long, long time. But what really conceptually changed the rules is the advent of a smartphone. And the smartphone now comes with so many quality sensors. You see people playing games on smartphones. You see people doing an awful lot of things navigating.
Yep.
I mean, look at it. We all use the GPS for our navigating now.
My wife loves the blue dot.
The blue dot. Yeah. And think about an application that you have like Waze. You can report in on the traffic. It tells you what your best route is. It constantly re-evaluates what's going on.
Yep.
So what we want to do is take some of those same sensors and do an app so I can now just merely use my telephone, my smartphone, not my telephone. I grew up in a rotary dial era, so I got to be careful.
It works with rotary dial phones?
We'll have to try that.
For interference.
Yes.
If I'd have known, I'd have brought a demo for
Yeah.
the rotary dial phone. And but we tried to appeal to everybody who would possibly want to use this in the ballooning community, and actually we're finding there may be some other applications. So people want wind speeds in different units. They want to have winds going to instead of from. So there's lots of combinations that we've given people inside of the app to pick that. And frankly, the only thing you need is the app, a pilot balloon, and a cell phone, and you are ready to go capture winds aloft.
So even though, like, Josh brought this fancy setup with the tripod and the holder and the RAM mount, scope and everything, you don't need any of that. You can just use your phone.
Oh, well, you can. And you pull open the phone, and you merely have to sight down the side of your phone. Now, what you're seeing with all the fancy stuff is it's going to give you some improved accuracy, because hand holding the phone, especially if you do it for very long, you start getting a few shakes and your accuracy may be impaired.
Yeah.
So, but I would say for most people, if you want the winds just through the first 1,000 feet, you're planning on a flight and trying to figure out where you're going to go, and you don't want to take the time to set any of this up, you can pull out the phone. In fact, the mount that you're going to see here is spring loaded, so you just pull out your phone and you release the pie ball from right next to where you are, you track it, and you're going to have winds aloft information.
Nice, very good. So Josh, so you actually helped with at least the modern version or current version of the app. So I guess tell us a little bit about that. Like, how is it built?
Sure. So basically what happened, the University of Dayton did all the back-end hard coding for us and all the calculations and stuff with Al. But what they're running into is semester, we're getting new students. So we finally pulled the project from them, and I met up with Al and got to my developers for hot air, and then we finished out the completed product that we have now. So we added a couple of new features that I had some ideas to put in there, and then basically was just finishing up the user interface and adding the login with Fred Dinkler to the BFA website for login membership and to get access to the free application that way.
But one of the key things that he added too was that this was all initially an Android development.
Uh-huh.
And Josh was able to use his crew to take that and migrate it over into the iOS or the Apple environment.
So now it's available for both iOS phones
It
and
is.
Android
No
phones.
matter what side you're on, we got you covered. For sure.
That war can continue without, and everyone gets to measure wins.
Absolutely, definitely.
So building out the app, like, what were some of the, I don't know, like, was there any like weird things that you ran into or interesting things that you ran into
Well,
with the
based on
wind?
your, a lot of the readings and hard work was already done. So
Yeah.
for me, it was more interfacing into the BFA website to get the membership database and things like that. And one of the funniest things that we ran across when we were developing is I send a version to Al to test, and he tries to log in with his login information, and it says incorrect information or invalid. Well, come to find out, Al is a lifetime member of the BFA, so we missed that in the programming. So it's the simple things like that that make a big difference. So that was one of the funny things we had to go back and fix. And,
Nice.
you know, just understanding the different concepts on a simple level of what we're doing was a challenge for me, because Al took care of all that with the university, and then trying to figure out that to make sure it works properly in the app, and then continue with that as devices update and change and things like that.
Okay. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say we ran into a few little technical glitches when you discovered the amount of magnetic influence that a handheld radio has. And people would be trying to use it with their radio clipped up to their lapel, or one of the microphones or speaker mics clipped up there.
Yep.
And the same thing happens when you're using a handheld compass. And we found the magnetometers in various phones, depends on what phone, and it didn't matter which operating system, but what phones it were made a difference in how that affected magnetic influence. So we're always constantly trying to outthink what we were going to encounter, and sometimes we got it, sometimes we didn't, and it'll be a work in process.
Absolutely.
From now on.
Awesome. So I saw some of the app earlier on today.
Uh-huh.
So I know, like, everyone kind of has different stuff. Some people might use hydrogen. Some people are using the party helium that you get out of the little pink or blue tank or whatever. Smaller balloons, bigger balloons. How do you accommodate for that?
So luckily in the app, it will figure out for helium. We did it on pure helium calculation of what as pure as you can get, but the mathematic calculation is in there. So for the average person, or for like me, I'm just going to put the size of my pie ball on the main screen and set that diameter, and then it's going to automatically figure that figure for me, which is about 315 to 320-ish feet per minute, I believe, without having to look in the phone and see. And then if you're using something different, we have a manual feature. So if you use a bigger pie ball, or you use a hydrogen or something else for your pie balls, then we've made accommodations for that in the app. You can go in there and manually figure that formula however you figure that.
Okay, cool.
So we make it very customizable so that it opens up options for everybody.
Nice. And how are you now? I've measured a pie ball, tracked it. How am I getting that information, or how did I use it?
Sure. So it'll come up on your screen, and we'll get you a screen recording of this too to show some images. But once the reading's done, it's going to show a thing called a hodograph at the top. To me, it reminds me of like a bullseye target. And it has you in the middle of it, and it's going to show dots, and it's going to connect the lines together. Just like a little kid, you connect the dots. But those dots and lines are now your wind and direction as you're going through the air. And you can see the speed in the chart below. So it's going to list out your altitude, your heading, and your speed at the bottom of the different layers as it's taking its readings.
Very cool. And then I think there was an additional option that you can get it saved to like Google Drive.
Sure.
Stuff like that. So it's sort of like an auto save feature, and other people can
Absolutely.
access it.
Yep. So what we did is the basic features of the app. As a BFA member, you get access to that, and I'll let Al explain the different memberships here in a minute for that and how that works. But you log in with your BFA account, but the pro version is $25 a year, and what that does is open it up to other features. So one of the ones, like you're saying, is it will sync it to Google Drive. So you just go in there and activate that feature, and it syncs it and saves it to your Google Drive folder, so you can use it later or you can share it with people. The other feature that we have is live to Google Sheets. So basically, when you're going in and you're taking your reading, you'll click on iOS, you have to click a separate button to start it, and it'll pop a little text message screen, and you pre-select your contacts, you'll be able to send it out to them. And then they'll get a link in the text message, click on it, open up Google Sheets, and they're seeing the updates live. And then on the Android, it does the same thing. You just don't have to send the link separate. You just click the start button, and as long as you have those contacts selected, it'll send it out automatically. So then every time the device takes a new reading of the pie ball, it's automatically live updating that set on all those individuals' phones. So your situational awareness for all the pilots that you're flying with or coordinating with are getting the same information live as the readings are being taken.
Awesome. And so you said that there's an additional cost, but that cost is like, that's not extra money that the BFA is just pulling in. That's
No,
used for
so that
further development of the app.
absolutely, that fund is going directly into a separate fund in a separate bank account, just to keep the support of the app up. As we know, our devices change, and as they change, we have to make constant updates. We see that with everything that we do, and that will help support that to pay our developers that are helping us now to keep things moving to support the project in the future.
Awesome. So Al, you said that like originally it was competition. Is it only the HACD members or that have access to it, or who all has access to the app?
So the whole point of making this a BFA app is so that we are rewarding our members for their membership and also for their retention and membership. So it's to encourage people to belong to our association. And the reason for that is that's how we best survive amongst a lot of competing things going on in the world right now. And the BFA is a very important group of people to support ballooning, whether it be from a legislative perspective or just finding good spots to fly. So this gave us an opportunity to say, you know what, if you're a member of this association, the Balloon Federation of America, you get the app for absolutely free.
Yeah.
It's included with your membership. And then there are also some subdivisions within the BFA, so HACD, Ride Division, or Pro, I think we call it now, or maybe the Gas Division.
Yep.
So if you belong to one of those other divisions or multiples of those other divisions, for every division that your membership is also a part of, you get another install of the app. So we do monitor that. Well, we keep track of how many installs you have, and there's some tools in there to allow you to manage that as the user. But the whole point is that if you're a member of the BFA, you get this. And I will say that some people have said, well, what if I'm not a member of the BFA? Because we've had public safety people and others say, I'd love to have this app so that if we have some sort of a chemical spill, a cloud spill in the air, where's my stuff going to go?
Right.
And they can do that too. And all they have to do is join the BFA, and the app comes for free. Or I kiddingly say you can pay for the app, same price as joining the BFA, and your BFA membership is free.
Yep.
So I don't care, but we want you part of our association.
Awesome. Well, I think it's a great benefit for BFA members, and then if you're additional division, like you said, you can have your crew get one or whatever, log in.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is, if you're doing your checklist in the morning, you're getting all your stuff ready to go fly, which you should do the night before, but if you decide to forget your phone and your crew member shows up, you can download the app right there on site, log in with your login credentials. You can unauthorize your device and authorize their device on the fly. Okay. So we've thought of different scenarios that could happen with our login process to fix things up for people that are like a basic member like myself.
Gotcha. So it's not just it's not on one device and you can't use it elsewhere.
No, so it's all manageable by the individual members of the BFA.
Okay.
We wanted it to be that way so it was an automatic process, because I don't want them calling me at 5 in the morning saying, hey, I can't log in for going to fly this morning.
Yeah.
So.
And for those of you who have hundreds of passwords to remember, you don't have to remember a new one for this. You're going to use your same login credentials as you do to log into the BFA site.
Awesome. Well, guys, is there anything that I didn't ask that you feel like should be shared about the app?
I think that's pretty good. One thing is we created a Facebook group.
Okay.
It's the BFA Wind Explorer on Facebook. If you go in there and join that group, that will be where everyone will be able to help tech support everybody and answer questions that you have in the app. And then also, if we'll find some bugs, let's be honest, we may find something, but just work with us on that and post them in there, and we'll work through it and see what the problems are and get those fixed as we move forward. So
awesome. Well,
and Zerek, I think what he's saying is very important, because the Balloon Federation of America and everybody who's worked on this app, with the exception of some paid developers, has done this all as a courtesy, as their volunteer effort. Now, we did have a very generous donation made to us to help support this, and I'd like to tell all our BFA members that we have not used $1 of your membership to go to fund this project. Those were private donations that covered that, and it's an all volunteer effort. So as we said, and maybe some other folks that we've talked to, please be kind with your criticism. We certainly want to hear it. If there's an issue, if there's a bug, if you find something, we're very open. We want to hear those things. But remember, we didn't get paid to do this. We're trying to do this, so we're helping everybody. So be gentle on your negativity.
Awesome. Well, I hope people will be definitely gentle.
Yeah, and you know how that is. So
Oh yeah, yep.
absolutely.
Software is a tough field.
It is.
Well, thanks everyone for listening in.
Absolutely.
Go download the BFA Wind Explorer app. It's available in both the Google Play Store and the iOS App
Absolutely.
Store. So we'll see you in the air.
All right.